We're back, people, and today we're bringing a film on Patrick Paul, Miami Dolphins left tackle, and go over why I think he will improve in year two. And there's a few different reasons for that. We'll look at some of this film. This Texans game in particular is like a big reason I have more faith in him because of how real good he played in that game. But to start with it, leave a like on the video. It really helps out. All that jazz. Leave a comment for the algorithm. But going with Paul. I think one area that I really noticed on film is that he struggled the most in games he came in late. Like when he was the swing tackle, either Armstead went down with injuries, he had to play left tackle, right tackle. I think those are the games where I saw him struggle the most. And that won't be the case going into year two because he'll be a starter. So there's not like a thing where I'm looking at Paul and I'm like, oh, he's not getting a feel for the game. He's coming in late. People are already, uh, playing out there and he's coming in midway and has to get up to speed right away. That's an area where I think, Paul will get a lot of help from. Two, I think he just has already shown improvement from one college to pros. So I think if you look at his film, like his college to like even playing in the preseason, his preseason like technique already looked like a higher level. And then you go to his film throughout the year and you look at the games where like he started, and I think, that Titans game, the first one he started was probably his biggest struggle game. But then you go to some later ones like this Texans game and you can see a clear jump in improvement there. So he improved, I think, as the year went on, at least slightly. And then, another reason we've heard about it, having a big time work ethic. That will always help him, and he has such a great physical and athletic profile. You can see, like, when we go over some of these Texans clips, you're going to see how good in that physical athletic profile can kind of match up. There are some negative plays mixed in there, but those are expected. Like, I still think there's still going to be growing pains in year two. I'm not saying he'll improve like a crazy amount, but I do think we're going to see like a clear improvement in like a more consistently solid player at the next level with still some, plays mixed in there that you would like to get back. But yeah, start with this. Here he is, left tackle. So explosive out of his stance. He's just a really good mover for his size. A guy that moves this well. And this Texans game is so impressive because who he's going up against, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, who were like probably the best pressure duo in the league last year. And they're both known for being super athletic and super powerful. And that's where Paul, I think, can show up. I think Paul can struggle against more like when people use their fastballs, like their speed to power move. Like a lot of edge rushers' fastballs, their speed to power. And then usually their changeups are their other moves mixed in. I think Paul more struggles against people's changeups. But when they try to use that speed to power or try to win around the edge, Paul's very comfortable with that stuff. He's got the athleticism, the size, the length. He'll just allow these people to run the arc. And you'll see some of the power too. Like he still, I think, don't love the way he uses his hands, like the way he opens up his chest. But the fact that he leaves his chest open like this and allows the guys to get engaged a lot of the times, and he can still just be so powerful in those situations is very, very impressive. Just Hunter running the arc there. Here he gets up on Will Anderson pretty quickly, does a little bit of a jump set, but doesn't get engaged on him. And look at him just mirror and match Anderson, who's trying to, give him a little bit of a shake. And, Paul shows good patience, pretty good base there, good knee bend, doesn't over lunge over the top. To me, I hope they kind of mixed up because I understand like he could be getting coached and it's something he's maybe comfortable with is doing those wide hand stuff, but to me, I think, it's fine if you do that sometimes, but he's got to be able to use his hands better because he's got long arms. Let's use them. But here he's able to, get wide, get control. There you see an example of him actually extending with his hands in his length. It doesn't allow the guy to get into his chest, and he's not able to lose that block. It allows him to sustain it at a high level. And even though, he's got his hands gripped there, he's keeping it tight, and he's not allowing the guy to get like wide outside his frame, so it's not like an obvious holding call. And that play ends up being a touchdown to Jonnu in the back of the end zone. That's good work there from Paul. Here you see some help versus speed to power. It's a little help from the left guard, but as you can see, like he starts to stonewall this before Jones even gets over there. Just one-on-one. Hunter's one of the best in the league when it comes to speed to power. Boom, hard stick. Like guys, he's selling to the outside, and then boom, 6 on the ground. Gets into Paul quickly, and Paul is just able to anchor, slow this down, and look at him just turn and basically torque this guy the outside, give room for your QB to step up in the pocket. Just very impressed with Paul's reps in this game, like the way he's able to just hold on, like nothing with perfect technique out there, but the physical and athletic ability to show up versus these guys who are also kind of just physical and athletic specimens, because Danielle Hunter's one of the biggest examples of that as edge defender, and he was able to, really hold his own versus those guys in this game. which is impressive because Hunter was like leading the league in pressures. Like here's another example of it. Setting it up to the outside, you can see Paul. One, look at him fire off the ball. Timing the snap. The ball is literally not even snapped yet, and he's moving. So he's like doing the jump with it. Very good timing. Not getting called for a false start. So love the explosiveness. He wants to be out there, and Hunter tries to set this up, get to the outside, and then boom, work back to the inside. And like even with Paul, not great hand placement. Look at his hands here. He's got him super wide. Gives up his chest, and basically is kind of like almost hugging him at this point. Gets a little help from the left guard, but as you can see, like he starts to slow this down and completely anchor and stop that momentum before he even gets the help on that island versus Hunter. Even while oversetting, just showing such great play strength without being able to use your hands. Definitely dynamic work there from Paul. He'll get up on you, mixing up his sets. I think that's something Paul does a decent job of. Is he can work those, vertical sets, 45-degree sets. Definitely can get up on you, jump, get on you quickly, or kind of wait patiently. Guy gets hands on him. Paul is able to anchor, reset, balls out pretty quickly. Just a lot of quality reps versus Danielle Hunter, who was like the pressure leader in the league. And then when he went against like the other Houston Texans edge rusher, he went against, we saw the one versus Will Anderson, and then you go get some of their backup guys, and he just gets on them quickly, no problem. Boom, anchor, maybe get pushed back a little bit, but he's able to extend those hips. Boom, get those feet in the ground. Give your QB enough room to work with. Pretty good feet here. Guy tries to win to the inside. Boom, look at him. Use that right hand to kind of stonewall the inside. Like I just think he needs to be, if he really works on his hand placement, because this is an area where I've seen him struggle, is when the guy tries to counter back to the inside. Paul has the athleticism to match, but like as you know, like eyes, hands, feet, they're all tied together. And I think he's got the feet there, but I don't think he has his hands tied, or at least you want to see get his hands tied. But this is an example of where it actually works out, where he's able to redirect, use that inside hand to allow him to redirect more easily and slow down that inside counter there from Hunter. So really good work in pass pro in that game. The run game stuff, I think you want to see more consistency from Paul here, but you can see the flashes. Fire off the ball, down block on 72 there, get engaged, sustain, and drive. You can also see it on like when he's pulling out in space. The athleticism there, I think he just needs to work on angles and stuff like that. You'll see different examples here. But here he is able to reach and sustain, allow the running back to really get to the edge here. And like doing it versus an edge defender who has like a very wide alignment. He's almost basically 2 gaps removed from you, and you're able to get out on him and square him up that quickly. So he has no chance to really set the edge, and Wright's able to capture it that nicely. That's where I think, I like Paul the most, is in those situations. But this Jets game overall is pretty good. Some warts in this game here versus Hassan Reddick. Gets caught up on him, kind of explodes out, throws that foot forward like he might get into him, which forces Reddick to then shoot his hands. Boom, get engaged, hold it down, anchor, give your QB time to step up in the pocket, make a couple different reads. Here's that inside move. He tries, boom, working a stunt, so he insides on him. Paul's able to redirect. Good base here. I think he does a better job opening up the inside hip there, opening up the gate, which allows you to, boom, control that, use your hands to pass it off to Jones, and then find the looper. I think he's a pretty smart player. I think technique is more of his issue. And then like the little details, like I think he can process and pick things up. And then like in the run game, I think you need to see like a little bit better processing when it comes to like angles to the next level. Because I mean, in pass pro, there's a lot of like, even against like good edge defenders, like he's winning just a lot of these reps very quickly, especially against the backups. Like here against like Michael Clemens, who's not a good player, like he completely stonewalls him. Reddick will give him more problems. And then here, I think that's Will McDonald. He completely wins that rep right away. Like if he gets control of you, it's very hard to beat him. And then he'll have some reps like this where he's trying to fire off the ball here. One, he's laid off the ball. So Paul's laid off the ball. He needs to fire off. And then he's trying to rip underneath this edge. Now, it's a little tough because you're asking the receiver here to crack this area. And the play is kind of late developing. And then this defensive end comes down and gets hands on Paul. So Paul's not able to rip underneath and get out to 36. So he's late and misses that. So just being laid off the ball and not, doing exactly what you need to do, understanding, where people are going to be. That's kind of an area he struggles here. He does the initial job, down block. They're using the reverse. He's now able to just, boom. It's just an angle adjustment. He has the athleticism. He just has to understand, like, in this situation, this guy's going to have to work super wide, so you have to just take a better angle get a little bit flatter and make it more difficult for where this DB has to like work around you right away, and at least give Tyreek a two-way go because he works around you and then makes a that could have been a touchdown if he blocks that one up a bit better. Here's some more work against the Texans. Jump setting, getting on Danielle Hunter very quickly, and as I'm saying, look at him. He actually has pretty good hands here. Like he has at least one hand into the sternum, the other hand's still on that shoulder pad. But high hand, low hand, like this is much cleaner hand technique in my opinion. And he has complete control, complete sustain of the situation. It's not as high level block because you were jump setting, but those are the type of hand uses I want to see out there from Paul more consistently. Here you can see that inside hand to slow down that inside counter. Boom, kind of drops his head. You want to see him do better with his eyes there, but using that inside hand to stall and then opening up his hips to get back to the inside, bring your feet with you, much cleaner. His guy ends up getting the pressure, but it was more so because Tua had to escape the pocket that way, but not really on him. Here, Paul allows him to run the arc. He kind of gets around him, but Paul's so athletic and lengthy. It's really hard to beat him around the edge like this. Like typically, that's not how he lost. Was around the corner. The only way I saw him lose like one or twice times like that, one or two times like that, and it was because he got like push pulled and he just played too far over the top. But typically, he plays with good balance. He's very hard to beat in those situations. Here's another example of it, just completely washing him out of the play. That athleticism, very hard to beat guys with that athleticism and length around the edge like that. You got to be able to really dip underneath in those situations. Here's another sort of mental mistake in the run game. Like as I'm saying, angles wise, boom. I think he expects to help out on like a little bit of a combo here. Throw that drag hand, but he needs to understand like he's here. Brewer's climbing up to 39. Paul starts to look for 48. I think he starts to consider like, I'm not sure why he's reading back to this side. I guess he's not counting 23 as a part of a guy that needs to be blocked here by the tight end. So he's just kind of doing a miscount, but he needs to realize like pretty much everyone else would be accounted for if he just takes 48. They freeze him here. Tight end works up to 23. Fullback takes on the edge. Brewer here, they have him cut off. Everything's kind of cut off. Lamb has to get to 20. And Paul just completely kind of mixes on that play. If he doesn't miss on that play and gets a body on here, this lane, like it becomes a lot cleaner. And really the only one who has a chance to become unblocked is the outside corner. But if 48's blocked up, you could really cut it back. It at least would have gained a few more yards. That's just something where he can struggle. When he fires off the ball and gets low, look at him fire off the ball, get low. Hunter tries to win with like the arm over, like little hop arm over stuff. But Paul, even while being low and overextended, you can see it's still the power and like because look how much he's able to displace him when the guy's off balance like this. Hunter, he's able to just stay on long enough, not go completely to the ground, show balance, and then play strength to completely displace him and allow, the running back to work up the edge. I think that's somewhere Paul could do a good job, is either reach blocking or just displacing the people horizontally on this stuff. Because look at him help out the tight end. Look at him create that displacement for him to hit up through that line. Down blocking when he can catch people off guard, attacking the low hip. He's got the power to work in those situations. I like the run blocking stuff is there. There just needs to be a consistency from Paul. The more of the mental mistakes. And I think, another year in the system will help him reach that. And we've talked about the other reasons I think he will improve. I think if he's your weak link on the offensive line, your offensive line should be totally fine. Like I think last year when he was playing, he wasn't your weak link. You had your guards were your weak links. He was sometimes he was even your second best offensive lineman, and he was still having his growing pains. And I think he'll be even better in year 2. And this system is very offensive line friendly, especially to guys with that skill set that he possesses. So you guys should do that, comment, and subscribe.